The 2 Cent Report! And hello to the entire world that exists, or the 5 or so people, I mean that's quite a high figure, who would listen to this. This is the 2 Cent Report, as we are every 2 weeks, I suppose. My name is 1 Cent Justin, aka LC Lupus, and I'm joined, as per usual, by the beautiful, illustrious, gorgeous man who will now introduce himself.
Thank you very much. I am 1 Cent Tristan, the co-host, and obviously the face of this duo, of this partnership, of this collaboration.
Yes, you can be the face, I will be the dulcet voice. Hello, internet. I'll just do ASMR or something. Should be fun.
Please don't.
But I need to get into the porn game so I can start making more money.
Well, the thing is, with the internet nowadays, getting into porn is actually very easy. What you need is a following. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Well, technically the hard part would be you, but yeah, you get the idea.
I just need to do like the hardcore shit that no one else will do, and then I'll get an audience.
But like, it already exists. Isn't that what, Rule 34? Rule 34?
True. Okay, I need to do like the things no one has ever heard of before. Like, I'll create new kinks. Like a table kink.
That exists.
It's just rubbing a table. That probably does exist.
I watched a video of a man who was in love with his car. Like, as in...
True.
Was...
True.
Actively pursuing a sexual relationship with his car. So, I'm pretty sure... relationships or intimacy with inanimate objects is a fetish already.
Do you think the car was
technically a dildo is an inanimate object unless it's a vibrator? So,
well, that's still inanimate. It just moves. Like a car's inanimate.
Yeah, true.
So,
true.
Yeah. Well, anyway, probably shouldn't be talking about porn because this is supposedly a video game podcast.
We just haven't reviewed the right games yet. We'll get to that subject eventually.
What?
Like, you remember that that game that released on Steam? What was it? Something Rape? And it released on Steam. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Like Rape Simulator or something. God, don't you just love it? Well, on the sort of schedule today are a bunch of random shit first, lots of acquisitions, a whole bunch of companies being shit. ABK, they get their own section for shittiness. And then, because war is a thing that like affects actual human beings, so Ukrainian developers were also affected by the current war that's going on, so we'll be looking at that at like the very end. So, should we jump into things, good sir?
Yes, indeed.
The first thing is something that maybe would actually be interesting to you. I didn't ever play the game. I always meant to and never got around to it. Yeah, it's one of those games. But I was always really excited about the second one because at first Jaeger was making it. They made Spec Ops: The Line, and now they're not. But apparently, Dead Island 2 is still a thing.
What?
Like, it's still in active development. Yeah. And apparently, it's slated sort of, maybe, don't get your hopes up, but maybe sort of slated for release 2023.
Is this because Dying Light 2 released? Now they're like, oh, we're still relevant, guys. Don't worry about us. We're just here doing our thing.
Maybe.
We will definitely be there, but just give us some time to kind of get back on our feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, maybe. But yeah, that's Dead Island 2. We still don't know anything because I think it's had a lot of changes. When Jaeger was going to do it was going to be like a very like sort of goofy, fun-looking thing, and I don't know what they're doing now.
Honestly, I've always thought that Dead Island was fun. Dead Island Riptide was fun, but it lost all entertainment value when I played Dying Light. Because Dying Light is just whatever I wanted from Dead Island, but better. And I don't have to be an annoying preset character. I mean, sure, Dying Light, I haven't played 2, but Dying Light 1 has Crane, which is, an annoying character, but he's not as charismatic or as vocal. He only talks when there's dialogue to be had to further the plot or just some exposition. But with the characters in Dead Island, they all are main characters. They all have to have a say. And oh, all I'm trying to say is like Dying Light should have been the Dead Island killer because it has everything that Dead Island had to offer and parkour. You can't go wrong with parkour.
No, I agree. You can't. It seems to just make any game just that much better. Which is funny, seeing as like no one can really do parkour like regular humans. It's really difficult to do parkour.
That's not funny. That's a game. That's the power fan, the escapism. Like, who wants a game that is so realistic that you could just go do it, but with the fear of dying? Like, that to me is very boring. Like when you have
that's actual... like DayZ.
DayZ is like I play, instead of playing DayZ, I play Scum. But it's the same kind of like, it gets boring. Like the whole interesting part is surviving, but once you get survival over, the only thing you have to worry about are the players, and the players are assholes. So generally, you spend most of the time in survival mode, not by choice, because once you get past survival mode, some player that's already been past survival mode kills you, forcing you back into it. And that kind of play loop I find very boring. I find big maps especially big maps where your character has no other transport besides a loud vehicle that attracts everything, or walking or running, but your character has stamina. So that kind of pisses me off, because it's like you can't travel very far when you're on foot because your stamina, and you get hungry and you get thirsty and you get tired, and it's just this whole like, why would I want to do that? Because I feel like that anyway at home. I get hungry, I get tired, I get thirsty. I don't like to walk far distances. I'll take a car, but it's going to cost me. Like, that kind of thing. I know I'm just whining at this point, but I get very annoyed where people don't like escapism in their games. Like, I play games to escape, to experience something that I otherwise couldn't experience. And parkour is something that I'll never be able to do. So I know that it's fun from that perspective. Also, parkour is not just a body fitness thing, but also a mental thing, because your character falls down, he slips up, doesn't look. I slip up, I break an ankle, I'm in hospital for a week. I'm sitting on a with a cast for 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, there are repercussions than just like pulling a bullet out of your arm from falling down a height. Far Cry 3 taught me that. Always look out for bullets in your arms if you fall down steep.
Yes.
Anything.
No, I know. I always make sure that all the bullets in my body are out before I go for a jog. That's just called being an adult. Anyway, do you want to know another game that it would seem is perhaps coming that is exciting?
Yes.
So do you remember how Microsoft bought Bethesda? And then, well, actually before that, they were like, yeah, we also bought Obsidian. And then people went, wouldn't it be cool if they gave Obsidian the Fallout license?
I was one of those
people. Yes, and it seems that now it's the beginnings of discussions about a New Vegas 2.
That's great. That's awesome. So, finally, some good fucking content.
Right. So that, I mean, this is still, it's pretty much just, it's reportedly, like they've said, this is what seems to be going on. But I also have a feeling that Microsoft is savvy. They know that people have been fucking wanting this. People have been like, my God, just give Obsidian the fuck. And then when the acquisition happened, they were like, oh my God, it could actually happen. They don't have to make Outer Worlds. They can actually just make another Fallout.
No, but I like Outer Worlds. Like, I know it sounds like I'm expecting too much, but I honestly did like Outer Worlds. I'm not saying anything bad about Outer Worlds. I'm just saying people like that. The whole thing, they made Outer Worlds to be like almost like a spiritual successor of sorts
to New Vegas, and now they can actually make a New Vegas, which is cool, and maybe be given more than 18 months to make it.
I would like them to continue the Outer World, and I would love them to take over Fallout. I mean, like, I think Bethesda should still hold on to the Elder Scrolls, but they should definitely give up Fallout. Like, they're done.
Yeah, I think
they've had their chance. I think
they just
they're done.
Yeah. Oh well. But no, this is just still very early days, so we'll see what actually happens. But hopefully those reports are correct. There are some tiny little movie news things. Apparently, it looks like Netflix is interested in making a BioShock like series or movie, which people have been talking about making a BioShock movie since it came out in 2007. So I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. I don't really care either way.
As well. I mean, like, I did also hear about a BioShock movie. I haven't even gone to see Uncharted yet. But also I've heard some things about that. Although, like I said,
I've heard it's not great.
I won't comment until I've seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. The other movie news is that even though the second Sonic movie hasn't come out yet, a third movie has been confirmed, and apparently Knuckles is going to be getting his own show. So I think, seeing as people like immediately sort of lusted after Knuckles, it seemed, also because I believe he's voiced by Idris Elba, so, you know, understandable. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed the first one, it was very fun. So hopefully it's fun.
I'm looking forward to the next movie, because we all didn't expect it to be that good, and even though Paramount had that problem, and they fixed it, we were like, oh wow, but maybe they were just fixing it because of something, but it just turned out to be a good movie. Like, the pacing, the fact that they weren't just shoving the same old boring storyline at you all the time. It was a good movie, so I'm looking forward to the second one. And if the Knuckles thing is really actually that good, then I'm looking forward to that as well. I just feel that, it kind of feels like game movies, if handled by big studios and Mr. Oleg Ball, whatever his name is, stays the fuck away from them, we're good.
It seems like there's something of like a revival of video game movies, because it was like a big thing in the 2000s of our mutual friend Uwe Ball making lots of them. And now it seems people are actually trying again, but maybe trying a bit harder. But yeah. Anyway, the next thing is actually more of like a logistics thing, but I suppose it's interesting because of industry changes it could cause. So Valve has decided to change the way that discounts work on Steam. So it's like you can't have a multiple launch discounts kind of thing. You can only have the one for when you launch, you know. You can't have other discounts 28 days after like a launch. You can't discount things like after a price increase in the currency. It's like all these like little specific things, and it's like you can't have discounts more than 90% or less than 10%. So just sort of little changes that will probably, because lots of small changes leads to a big thing. So it will probably change the way discounts work. It's from the end of March onwards. So yeah.
You know what that kind of reminds me of, right? Like something like that makes me like picture, you know, whoever's in charge of marketing of the Epic Games just sitting there with a notebook, like with a notepad, just like, oh, they say that they don't do this, well, we're gonna do this. And they're like just writing down all the things Valve says won't happen. They're like, well, we will give this. You can use this. You could use this. You know?
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
No, I agree. But it's these kind of, this is why I like, they used to be called Gamasutra and now Game Developer, which I still think that was a mistake. But anyway, Gamasutra, they would have news stories that were like super technical things. And the other, like, media outlets don't care because there's nothing they think interesting about. There's nothing clickbaity about. There have been terms and service changes at Valve. But I'm like, that's actually, can actually have repercussions. It can actually have proper effects, unlike, I don't know. They make big news when it's like, oh, they're postponing Assassin's Creed this year. You know, that's not news.
I mean,
to
like,
me.
the problem I have, right, is that people that aren't really interested in the game industry will get that clickbait news, and they actually are the majority. They will get the clickbait getting better views, whereas people like us will want that Valve policy changes because it first of all gives us something to talk about, and second of all, it could affect our Steam account. Like, I've actually been thinking a lot lately about my Steam accounts or all the accounts that I have, and just thinking about what do I do with them when I pass, because because I've got a lot of games. I've probably got over 100,000 rand, but I guess rand in USD, whatever. But yes, I've got quite a lot of games, and quite expensive games at that. I'm not bragging anything. I'm just saying why I'm always poor. But it's I always think, like, what am I gonna do with that? Can I give it to somebody? But like, policy changes where, you know, if it's the account is bound to you and only you can use it, and if somehow my death comes out, can Valve then close my account, or can my nephew, or if I have children, my children use my account? Things like that.
Yeah, I think there was a thing because, like, they can just arbitrarily delete your account in, like, a lot of countries, but I think I think France has laws about digital ownership where it is classified as an actual thing. Like, it's not just, you know, so it can be passed down, I think. But the thing is, that would be about regulations. Obviously, Valve will make more money if they can delete it when you're dead. So that's what they would prefer. But
that's my worry, is that they can just do that, and then I'm like, oh well, you know, I'm sorry, Billy, you're not getting old ass games anymore. You will have to rebuy Half-Life: The Orange Box.
Well, I mean, one of the shitty things, I suppose, as well, is that if Valve were to ever go down and Steam were to go down, you would lose all your stuff as well.
Not really, Not really. Here's my reasonings. Now that you said that, I will plan to get the biggest hard drive I can, or get the biggest storage PC I can, and I will then download every game I have and then copy them up. Yes, they've got the Steam, but I'm pretty sure if Steam ever goes down, right, there will be a certain band of seafaring hooligans that will make sure that the game still runs without having Steam active or verification from the Steam server.
I'm sure.
Did you know that the true archivers of this generation are the pirates?
I would say of all generations, they're just going to keep... They're the ones who are... You know, like, Nintendo has so many famous games, and then they'll just be like, oh yeah, no, we're, like, just not going to release them for new systems, and they're going to die. And so people are like, alright, well then ROMs. And then Nintendo gets all angry. They're like, we're not selling these games, so we're not making a profit, but we're not going to let you give it away for free either. So, meh. That's Nintendo, and fuck Nintendo. Anyway, the next news was actually something that you spotted. I actually missed it. You sent, but it was like ages ago still already. Some ex-Witcher 3 devs are forming their own studio called Rebel Wolves. Yes. And that's, I think, pretty much all we know.
And they have, apparently, so there's a whole discussion because they released one concept art to show the game that they're making. And it looks to be like a medieval vampire RPG. Like, I was actually watching a video about the breakdown of what people speculate the concept art represents, but they released one concept art and that's all we got to go on. So it's not like they're doing nothing. They do have a game plan, but I guess the highlight of this is how snarky the CEO is.
Yeah, I know. That is quite fun. He seems bitchy, which I like. I like bitchy people. Actually, this is unrelated, but you just find this quite funny. The academic I'm reading at the moment for my studies is extremely bitchy, and I love him. There's this section where he's talking about some politician I've never heard of, and he says, yes, this guy is... like in paintings, there'll be a lapdog. Well, he's like the lapdog, although maybe that is even too high class an animal. He's more like a cockroach. And I'm like, Jesus, dude, I love you. You're such a prick.
You're such a pushover, my God. You fall in love with a person just because they're a little bit insulting.
He's very bitchy. No, he was bitchy, and he was also imprisoned by Mussolini's fascist regime. So, he was alright.
Somehow, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he was, and then he pretty much died in prison, and he wrote all of this while he was in prison. So, I just like that he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm already in prison. I'm just gonna suck cock.
Shit posting before
fuck these people. Oh, anyway. But yes, bitchy people are great, and there should be more of them. So, Tristan, are you ready?
Oh?
It's the acquisition corner.
Oh, yes. Lay it on me.
So, there's been a lot. So, let's get started. Nacon is acquiring Daedalic Entertainment. They're the people who are currently making that Gollum game. If you know about it.
Yes, I've heard about it.
Yeah. And Nacon is one of those companies that, conglomerate style. They buy up lots of smaller, sort of indie people. And apparently they've been partners, but now this is what's sort of leading to the acquisition. They're like, yeah, we've been partnered, like they're publishing Gollum, but now they also own us. So, yeah. That's the first one. It's still not for that, in comparison to some of the other acquisitions we see. But also, I mean, the ABK acquisition kind of dwarfs literally fucking everything else. At $68 billion. This one was for $60 million, which, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but not Activision money. So, yeah.
It falls along the way.
Yeah. Anyway, Tencent is back in the news, and they don't want to be outdone by anyone, because they were like, oh fuck, did you see how Microsoft acquired one big one? How about we just buy 3 in a row? So that's what they did. They acquired Inflexion Games. I do not know them, but they made a game called Nightingale.
I'm going to stop you there for a bit, and I'm going to tell you, move your phone away from your microphone, because you're getting static.
Oh, really?
Yes, a little bit, but you're still getting static. And then you make
my phone is as far away as it usually is.
Also, Tencent was
Thank
one
you,
of the companies sponsoring Africa Games Week. Just so you just.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, I saw their little. I don't know what it is. It looks like an explosion, but of polygons. I don't know. I saw their symbol there. I assume that they.
Oh well. Yeah, I mean, I got their fingers everywhere, so it makes sense. But yeah, so they've acquired this little... It's a small company. I don't think they even said how much it was for, so I think it was probably quite small. They also acquired a Polish developer called IC Entertainment. And IC, not IC. So yeah. Anyway, or 1C. God, is that a 1 or an I? I think it's a 1. Oh yes, I thought it would be funny because it's like 1 cent. So, yes. Anyway,
I'm sorry,
they are. I think,
ladies and gentlemen, 1 cent Justin is getting old. You'll have to forgive him.
I am, and I struggle to see. So, anyway, apparently they've worked on over 100 titles. It doesn't say what titles. but they've worked with like EA, Warner Brothers, CD Projekt Red. Maybe they're an outsourcing company. So
Sounds like it.
yeah. But yes, so Tencent has acquired them, and it's also acquired a minority stake in Offworld Industries. They made Beyond the Wire, which I've heard of but have not played and could not tell you anything about. So yeah, that's Tencent, because Tencent needs to acquire things. I think they like acquire things like at least once a month. It doesn't seem to be long before we hear more about them acquiring.
It's almost like the CEO needs to have his fix, or her fix,
probably.
their fix, whatever. But you know what I mean.
I do. So THQ Nordic, who are owned by Embracer, have bought up a animation studio called Metricminds. I've never heard of it, but they've worked on things like Dying Light, Borderlands 2, Batman Arkham Origins, and Horizon games. So,
they're outsourcing company.
I would assume so. It looks like it says that they're known for creating V cutscenes. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so I think I know what's going on there. So sometimes companies acquire other companies for more work, or sometimes they acquire like for more people, or they acquire them because they want the IP and the people working on that IP, or they acquire them because they provide a product or service. So, like for instance, if I make a game engine that's really cool, or my guys specialize in VFX for games, right? And that's what we get hired for from every game. Eventually, a game company is going to buy me because they want exclusive rights without doing what's that thing called? A retainer. They want exclusive rights to that skill.
Yeah.
So something like that. The V scenes, what you mentioned there, I'm just assuming that Nordic wanted it. They wanted it in their game, but they're tired of having to deal with a third party. Makes more sense to incorporate them into the company, because then you get direct support and you don't have to pay a retainer. You can just pay the staff. Really smart idea for companies that are getting bigger. Obviously, not every company can do it, but I think that's kind of what's happening there.
Yeah, no, because it says they make V cutscenes, trailers, motion capture, keyframe animation, facial animation, and cinematics. Which, that seems like a lot. I don't know if it is. So, yes. Anyway, that is that one. The next one is someone who we don't really hear about very often doing acquisitions, but whatever. Nintendo has bought up a long-term partner apparently called SRD, and apparently this company has sort of worked with them for like ages, and they've worked on things like Animal Crossing and something called Game Builder Garage, which I've never fucking heard of. Anyway, it first started collaborating with Nintendo back in the 80s and has worked on things like Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. So it's been for a while. But yeah, so you don't really hear about Nintendo buying up companies very often, but when it happens, it's like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's very
sounds.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Awesome.
So anyway, next one is 11-Bit Studios. They have bought up like a sort of, it's not a majority, it's 40% stake, but 40% is essentially a majority in terms of stakes usually. Fool's Theory, which is like, I suppose quite, so 11-Bit Studios are the guys that made This War of Mine. So they're like kind of indie-ish, although I think they've done really well recently. But Fool's Theory has worked on things like Baldur's Gate and Outriders. And they were working on their own RPG now. And yeah, now they've been, like a majority share has been bought up. So that's nice. That's, yeah, just the thing. The next one is kind of weird. I still don't really understand why they did this, but whatever. Do you know what Bandcamp is?
No. Well, Bandcamp is in, like where people go to just play instruments and getting people that play instruments
I guess that's what it's named after, but basically Bandcamp is it's think of it sort of like the itch.io for music. So it's like indie musicians, and they get quite a large proportion of the money from sales. So it's like a really cool thing. It's like basically all the like indie musicians, when you like ask them where should I buy your music, like should I buy it on Apple, should I buy it on like Google Play Store, whatever, people will be like Bandcamp, I get the highest percentage on Bandcamp. And they've just been bought up by Epic Games for some reason. So
that's not surprising. I mean, Epic Games owns ArtStation, so they have the devs with Unreal, they have the artists from ArtStation. They still need sound design. True. So, like, Epic is basically... I've got this feeling that Epic is just going to buy... They're buying everything for their engine. They're not going to be a company that makes games, but they're going to be a company that can provide everything that a developer needs to get their game out. Eventually, you're going to find that Epic Games, you could come up with an idea of a game, make a GDD, if anybody that doesn't know, game design document, and make your pitch to Epic, and Epic goes, right, we'll either buy that for you, or we'll give you money and you can head up, and they'll just have all the resources ready for you. Therefore, you don't have to go looking to build a team, because they've got artists, they've got a catalog of artists, they've got a catalog of sound designers, they've got a catalog of devs. You would just be given the resources to do your game. Everything in-house. It's sort of comforting to know that, instead of like, they will provide everything to get your game sorted. I kind of feel that's the direction that Epic wants to go. They want to be not just the engine that could, but the company that can provide you with everything you need to make your game. And that's pretty sweet, from my perspective.
That could be cool, but the thing is, Bandcamp doesn't make any music. It's just a distribution platform. It would be like buying Steam, not buying Valve, just buying Steam. Like you're buying a shop.
Yes.
So like Bandcamp doesn't.
It's true, but the people who distribute on that platform are artists. That's what I'm trying to say, is that ArtStation doesn't make art for ArtStation. It's basically a place where people can learn, because there are tutorials. ArtStation has massive tutorials on all aspects of 2D and 3D art that you could do. And I say 2D and 3D and not like fine art, because fine art I still regard as being 2D or 3D. If you're painting on a canvas, I still consider that 2D. If you're welding a sculpture together, I still consider that 3D. Now, just to clarify where I'm coming from. So, ArtStation provides those tutorials, and it's a place for people to show off their work and hopefully gain commission from it, get interest, have people come in and want work done for them and gain commission. So it's not a place where you would go find the artist, display the art, and then you would contact them outside of ArtStation or within ArtStation to get a commission. So looking at Bandcamp, it may be a place where people buy and sell music, right? But the people uploading their music are the creators, or connected to the creators, which means that you have a in. Because remember, these people that are distributing can also distribute licensed soundtrack that you could use in your game. So you don't have to go looking for an awesome score to put in this epic moment of your game. Epic is now providing you with Bandcamp, where you can go and look for that awesome score and get access to it immediately done. You kind of see where I'm getting, where I feel like they're not providing you so much, because they still technically, they don't provide the people, but that was just a wish from my side. What they do provide is the resources. They have a store where they provide 3D, 2D, audio, code assets. They provide everything in their store, and it just means they're just linking more stores. But instead of just having a store, you may have the ability to reach out to a creator and say, how much would it cost to do this? And then they make custom stuff. So things like that.
I see where you're coming from, and I think that is actually true. Also, I mean, if they own Bandcamp, they could probably promote people. They could be like, here, check out these indie artists. Because also, I mean, I think you tend to get like more pretentious clout if you use indie music rather than mainstream music. People will be like, oh, he's using an indie musician, not, a famous person.
I get you.
So, if you want to be a pretentious indie developer, you need to have stuff that sounds like Cage the Elephant. But not Cage the Elephant, because they're too big mainstream now.
Yeah, but I was just about to say, which is kind of funny, because I've heard of people trying to make a big studio trying to make AAA that normally made like AA. I don't want to say AA because I just think of the battery, but you understand, it's not AAA, but it's still pretty high quality. But then, in order to win these indie competitions, they have this big studio producing an indie game that they've basically just taken as much mechanics as they can from the sort of AAA titles and dumbed it down so it kind of looks like an indie developer would create. It's refined, but it's janky because it's not okay. Sorry, it's not refined. It's indie. It works, but it's janky, and I hate it because you have these competitions where indie studios can range from one person to like 10. You know what I mean? So you have these guys competing to win awards or to get exposure, and you've got these fucking huge studios that are faking indie games because it's more profitable to win these competitions than it is to try and make something, try to make it in the big wide world without a publisher. Disgusting.
Yeah. Disgusting. Well, we have only one more acquisition, and it's Netflix bought up a Finnish studio called Next Games, and they worked on things like a Stranger Things game and some Walking Dead games. And actually, speaking of Walking Dead games, this is unrelated, but on the weekend, I went to an arcade for the first time since I was like a child. They're not as good as they used to be.
Smell the depression.
Yeah. Like, they don't even have proper light gun games. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Move on. So.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell the world, arcades in Africa, well, in South Africa, suck. As much as they try to say, oh, they got big arcades and something, they suck.
They do suck. They used to be cooler. They don't even have they don't even have like cabinets anymore.
They just have this stupid ass, like most of the arcade games aren't actually arcade games. They just, throw the ball into the net, knock over the thing, put the coin in and lose the coin. But hopefully you'll cause a cascade that will put more coins and you'll get more coins out of that one coin. You know those incognito betting machines where you put in a coin and hopefully your coin knocks more coins so you get more coins out of it? I don't know if anybody's following with what I'm saying.
Yes. No, I do.
Yeah, but you've experienced it. So, or you get that stupid light thing where you must hit the button at the right time to get the bonus and get tickets. Like, we don't have a lot of actual games, like video games in arcades anymore. And the ones we do have is like Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 1. Like I'm talking about like ass old arcade games.
They don't even have those arcade like machines anymore. In this one I went to, there was only one game, but like Nina really liked it. But yeah, they had like one actual good game, and then the rest were just like, this is disappointing. There was also a terrifying putt-putt course. And for Americans, it's called... Wait, what's it called in America?
Mini-golf.
What's putt-putt? Mini-golf. And in England, it's called crazy golf. So that's what we're talking about. It had...
What?
Yeah, it's called crazy golf.
English people. Why are you calling it crazy golf? Is it crazy because the stick is short? Because the course is all in... is tiny. Why is it crazy? Why crazy golf? Because in my mind,
what was also
crazy golf is when you go into the golf course and there's a hobo set up shop, and then you watch the golf security try to remove him from the premises. That's crazy golf.
You know, the thing that was great, like, no one was playing it, but the thing that was fucking best about it was, because you know it'll be like windmills and shit like that at like putt-putt. It was fucking clowns. Scary clowns that were like huge and hanging over the course. It was fucking scary. No wonder there were no children playing there. But anyway, speaking of children and inappropriateness, Roblox.
Oh boy.
That was a good segue.
It was,
but
nah, man.
Roblox is back in the news because maybe it's been linked to some child grooming stuff.
You know, the first thing that went in my mind when you said it may be linked, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna say child porn. Grooming is the same.
Pretty much. But then what was really funny was that, like, I can't remember the same day or the day after, there was another piece of Roblox news where it was like, it's not about this. It's that Roblox, yes, even though it's a huge corporation, its growth is slowing and it's worrying investors. And I'm like, okay, so the investors are worried about the slow growth, not about, like, the predators. Okay, I mean, that tracks.
I also wake up at night, cold sweat, worrying about the oucher.
I know, it's difficult.
That was a nerd joke. Because I'm assuming lots of people don't know what Yautja are.
No. By the way, it's not just Roblox because, I wrote it here in my little notes. Roblox still bad, and then afterwards, so is VRChat, although not on purpose. VRChat is also being used to groom kids. So
that's not surprising as well. And guess what, guys? The metaverse is gonna be even worse.
How could you say such a thing? You know what? I just found out about a thing, some sort of meta thing where they're like trying to make some kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein Island, but for them, and they're like, and they specifically came out to say, there will be no age of consent on this island. Mental maturity is enough. And you're like, wow, that's but fucking creepy, but okay. You do you, guys.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or you're actually being serious here.
No, this is serious.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh,
yes.
No. No, no.
Yeah, they said there will be no laws because, like, it's an economy, so it'll regulate itself. And you're like, yeah, that hasn't fucking, like, stopped rapists before. So, okay, I suppose.
I mean, like, out of all the shit you could have chosen. I mean, seriously, like, I'm sorry, but that's just... And you know what? People think, oh no, it's okay because it's virtual. It's not real, guys.
Oh no! In this case, these guys, they want to make like an actual island. This isn't in VR. They're like, they want to move it from VR into real life. They want to be like, it's like the metaverse, but in real life.
What? So what? Instead of Big Brother, it's like awkward uncle, where you just go on an island. Doesn't matter your age. You just have a whole lot of old guys perv over you.
I also just like the thing that it'll probably just be guys there. So they'll be like, oh, but I thought there was supposed to be like women here. And it's just going to be fucking hilarious. Also, apparently, they're going to have... Because like in the digital version, there's like a Scrooge McDuck style coin pool that you can jump into. And they were like, we're even going to have that. And people were like, how the fuck are you going to have that? In real life, if you dived into fucking metal, you would hurt. It's a ball pit. The real one.
Like, if you have to dive into coins, it would fucking hurt. If you had to dive into notes, it would still fucking hurt because you get paper cuts everywhere. And another thing is, that's nasty. Who knows where that money came from?
Exactly. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it. Anyway, according to my, headings here, Roblox still bad. So is VRChat, although not on purpose. The next one is so is Paradox. So Paradox, you remember quite a while back, they also got in some troublies because of basically just workplace shit, the usual harassment and misconduct and what have you. It seems like they haven't done anything about it, so they just continue being shit. So people are like, because this is the thing, people just go, because it's true, people forget about it. There's so much shit happening that you forget about the small ones. You remember the ABK because there's shit every fucking week, but you forget about Paradox because it happened months ago. And so when someone finally does like an audit and they're like, oh, fuck all's changed. So, cool.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but those are like the smaller stories. Now we have ABK. ABK's got a couple things.
For those who don't know, it's Activision Blizzard King.
Yes. So of course they are now in the process of being sold to Microsoft. And first off, it seems like the government sort of wants to expand their investigations, which I'm sure Bobby Kotick is very happy about. So that's like the first little thing, right? They just want to expand it, and some people aren't happy about it. Now, some other things have come out. For instance, the fact that Bobby Kotick, he used some shell corporations. So for those who don't know what a shell corporation is, it's like a business that actually doesn't do anything, and then it usually operates in a tax haven so that it can like make payments where you want and it won't be traced back to you. The problem is it can be traced back to you, so it's actually fucking stupid to do it. Anyway, Bobby Kotick has now gotten in some trouble because he, it seems, has been donating money secretly. That's always when you go, donating money is like one thing, but donating money secretly makes it just seem a little bit more nefarious, to the Republican Party in America, which a lot of people don't like the Republican Party. So that's just a funny thing. And then, it seems at the same time, Raven Software, which if people don't remember, Raven Software is like a company owned by Activision Blizzard, and their QA department was trying to unionize, and then basically ABK has been trying to get them to stop, such as by doing a thing where they moved them. They were like, oh, here's the QA department, they have their own department. We're going to actually move them into the dev team. And we're going to claim it's to make it, like, work better. But really, it means they can't communicate as easily. Which I think is also stupid, because I saw news recently that was fucking funny. Apparently, people at Apple who are trying to unionize decided to use Android phones so that Apple couldn't spy on them. So people will find a way to collaborate.
The thing is, right? A union is only necessary if the quality of work life for the employee is bad. Now, when you have companies actively avoiding or doing the union busting, it is them acknowledging that the conditions are bad, but they don't want to change it. That should be enough evidence to press charges. Like, companies shouldn't be allowed to union bust. They should, the moment that comes to light, you should be able to sue them. Because then that means that they are aware of the problem and they're actively trying to maintain that issue. And don't tell me, it's about money and this and this and this. If you have, like, the worst thing that could happen, right, is yes, people are stupid and they're still going to buy your product. That's the worst thing about everybody being independent and, like, they will still buy the product. It's like, there are people in China buying Nikes. You understand the kind of thought pattern. I know it's not a very good analogy or example, but yeah. It's just, there should be a way to hold them liable for union busting, because they're clearly preventing their employees from seeking a better quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not great. And what made things even funnier is that the SEC, which is like the thing that's sort of investigating them, the agency that's investigating them, discovered something, that the acquisition talks started 3 days after the harassment stuff started, after like the lawsuit like report stuff started. So they waited until they were like, oh shit, this is actually a really big PR nightmare. Let's fucking sell and run. So that doesn't look good.
I'm not surprised. I mean, like,
yeah.
Most people at the top are like of these big industries don't know what's going on. They're just there for the money, and they basically run it the way they want.
Yes.
It's kind of how It's kind of how the boomers handled the economy. They kind of just played around, and then they enjoyed their time. And when it was fucked, they're like, "Oh, I'm too old. Oh, gotta go. Sorry." Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, you'll actually see it. This comes up soon. So like your exact point comes up soon. But other things that happened was Treyarch's Infinity Wall thing got like delayed apparently to 2023. So okay, whatever. However, it also seems that if they were to just fire Bobby Kotick, he would get $15 million just out of it. So that's maybe why they're keeping him on for now. Maybe trying to see if they can get him out.
We all just need to do our part. Any image of him, right? Like he's already said he doesn't like people drawing horns in him. So I've really thought about that, right? I've honestly thought about that. And I thought, like, shame, the man needs a dating life. I mean, he can't screw everybody else and not get screwed himself, you know what I mean? So
exactly. No, obviously.
I propose, instead of horns, we like draw something else. I don't know. What's a nice equivalent? Let's brainstorm this. What about gills? What about scales? What about a burning halo over his head? What about I don't know. Justin, can you think of anything?
You can do that thing that Jigglypuff does when you fall asleep and she just draws all over your face.
Yeah, you could do that, but please, no horn. You can draw anything else. Actually, I think there's a certain phallic object that can be replaced. That we could supplement for the horns on his head.
I also think that would work.
Yeah, so
like just everywhere.
Everybody, do your part. Go out there and replace all of those pictures with horns, with something else, and improve the current pictures that aren't edited with your additions. And maybe we can all come together, and he will realize that we do listen to him, we do hear him out, and we do respect his wishes for us not to draw horns on his head. But he's still he can still get fucked.
Yes, he can. Fucking prick. But also it seems apparently like next year's Call of Duty is being pushed to like 2024. So I don't know. Apparently they're just like, let's just fucking hold off on this shit and let Microsoft deal with it. But to go with your point earlier, it seems a shareholder is suing ABK over the acquisition. This is according to in GameDeveloper.com. They say this shareholder Kyle Watson filed a lawsuit against the publisher on February 24th, 2022, claiming the Microsoft deal is unfair for a number of reasons and has only been pursued so the board can procure for themselves and senior management significant and immediate benefits. So, yeah, he's pretty much like, yeah, he's like, no, they're just fucking trying to get like money and get the fuck out. So, fuck these assholes.
And that poor investor has his money tied up in all of this fucking nonsense.
Yes. And also, we always like know when the investor class gets angry, that's when like shit actually gets done, because you don't want to piss off the rich.
That's how you
don't
disappear.
know what they'll do.
That's how you disappear. Yep. Remember that? You remember that island, that massive, almost continent-like island off of South America in the Pacific?
Yeah.
You know about it, right?
Yes, I do.
The fact that it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. And well, I mean, that's where they're gonna put the ball pit.
You know what would be a good island for these rich motherfuckers to put this whole thing? Or one of those floating garbage islands, just to really set the mood of how garbage they really are.
Exactly.
Just to reflect the idea.
Fun. Yeah, I think it would work well. I mean, it has a certain ambiance to it.
It mixes in with them so well. I think it's their scene right there.
I think so too.
And they can claim that they're recycling so they can get good PR.
Yeah, you see, we're recycling. We're living a carbon neutral existence. Anyway, we're kind of onto like the last big thing, and this is about Ukraine. So, obviously, at the moment, the thing is just that Russia has invaded, and the invasion is still ongoing. It's changing day to day, so it's not really point on like actually talking about what's happening there. But game companies have been affected because, you know, human beings live in Ukraine, and some of them make games. Some of them are, like, for instance, the people who are working on, there's some, like, Ubisoft devs who are there. And Ubisoft has actually been doing some cool things for them. I mean, Ubisoft is still a bunch of assholes, but they have been providing, like, additional funds and salaries and trying to get alternative housing so that they can, like, escape, which is nice. There was another Ubisoft thing. Yeah, they're providing them with, like, support hotlines and all sorts of stuff. There are also companies like GCS World, is Ukrainian, the guys who make Stalker. So they like came out being like, fuck the Russians. So all of these ones come out. The CD Projekt Red, who's Polish, that's like right next door to Ukraine. They're also like support, like donating and stuff. Ubisoft, CD Projekt Red doing, and a bunch of other smaller ones. Also the people who make this War of Mine, who are Polish. So also next door, there was a creative director at World of Tanks who decided to make some pro-Russia comments, and he got fired. And this, I think, is the big one. The Ukrainian Prime Minister spoke to, or like said to Sony, Microsoft, and other game studios to say, please drop all operations in Russia, such as online hosting. So imagine if all those Russian gamers get kicked out of the games they play. Imagine the uproar.
That is so nice. I can finally go back to playing online again. Oh, I know I sound like an ass, but all the negative. I do not condone the sheer amount of hostility between that Russia is obviously conveying, and I do not condone any situation where there is loss of life. Okay, but there are some silver linings in my asshole mind that I can think of. Like, one, I don't have to deal with Russians constantly hacking and killing me. Two, we can finally move away from Call of Duties being in the fucking desert, and we can go attack Russians again. How nice is that? How nice is it not to be running around a dust bowl and, you know, killing things?
You have a fucking thing about desert biomes. You have this irrational hatred of desert biomes. This little fucker, let me just tell all the people, is like, no, I don't like Mad Max Fury Road because I don't like desert biomes. Exactly. And I'm like, that's the fucking coolest fucking movie that has come out in years. This little bitch just whinging.
It's not a desert biome. Like maybe Counter-Strike Go will have some fucking more Russian environments now. Instead of everybody playing Dust and Dust 2, for fuck's sakes. How many times must I run on Dust and Dust 2?
You know, but the Dust is like a classic, so I don't think anything's going to happen to Dust, I'm afraid.
I know.
Sorry.
But at least, you know, the more war-facing games will come up with us beating up Russians again. I miss those times. Like, movies will start having more Russian villains again. You know, back in the old Die Hard days, when things were simple. You knew that if you had a funny accent, it's probably worthwhile shooting at them. None of this politics and religion.
I'm glad you have a nice silver lining to
Like I said, in my asshole of a mind, that's what I think. Like I also say, just to repeat myself, I don't condone the loss of life or the actions taken by Russia or any actions aggressive towards anybody. However, in the whole game aspect of games being made of previous wars, all we had was the Dust Bowl that is the Middle East. Anybody listening from the Middle East? I said it. You can rage at me, I don't mind. I already know I'm an ass. I'm good with that. But the Dust Bowl of the Middle East, I'm just saying, I'm tired of games being made there. There was, before the war, I looked at pictures and videos before the war in the Middle East, and they looked amazing cities. No, like the desert was held back. It was beautiful. There was lush greenery. That is awesome. I have no problem with that. But when you plonk me in the middle of somewhere that's just dust and a few box houses, I'm pissed off.
Well, I'm sure people from the Middle East who do play games would probably be happy to not have to always be shooting their own people. They can finally shoot a white again, which hasn't happened since like World War II games.
And those were evil white people.
Those were evil white people. I mean, I'm sure there would be arguments to be made that you could just say white people. I just have, there's only one game where I won't bitch about desert biome. Only one game. Spec Ops: The Line?
Yes. And the only reason for that is that the story and the actual gameplay distracted me so much from the desert biome that I actually couldn't care. And also, the desert biome was done well in setting the scene of it. So, like, that I don't mind. That's one of the few games I can consider I have no problem with the game because it's based in a desert biome. But games that just have desert biomes because it's one of the 4 major biomes that every sandbox game needs to have. You got the jungle, you've got the desert, you've got the grassland, and you've got the mountainous area. That's like the 4 main biomes that people just chuck into their game if they have a sandbox. Desert fucking biome.
I mean, I suppose if you want to go for like a literal approach and you want to have a sandbox game, you can set it in a
Please kill yourself. It's fine. It's fine. You can die in that desert biome you currently stay in.
It's fucking green all around me. It's felt, not desert.
It's devoid of any of my interests.
You're confusing this area with the Karoo.
Well, like, as bad as desolate as desolate as the Karoo is, it's not as desolate and boring and bland as like the majority of Namibia. Yes, I said it. I've been there. I've driven 13 hours through desert. It only reinforces my hatred of the biome.
You're also good friends with a Namibian who would probably back you up.
Yeah, he also hates it. Yeah.
Well, that is all of our news for today. Is there anything else?
No, not really. Nothing else newsworthy, but I assume that we'll move into the talks about what we've been up to.
Yeah, I have done nothing.
That's
I've been really busy.
Okay. Playing BPM the other day. So
so yes. Okay. So I've been sitting here for fucking ages, sitting here being like, I have all these games. I need to actually get around to fucking playing these. Like, I was so excited about this game, and I bought it the day it came out on the 21st of September, and I still haven't played it. I have all these games fucking sitting here, and I'm like, okay,
which game is
I must
that?
actually play. Let's Get in the Car, Loser. I really want to play it, and I'm fucking lazy. I have all these other fucking games as well that I need to play, and I'm like, yes, do it, Justin. You can. And then I've been really busy, so when I have just like 30 minutes to just like chill for a bit, I just play BPN. instead. And I've now actually gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm too good to find like it difficult. So I'm playing with a character I was always scared of playing of, because you can only get hit once and then you're dead. Well, I suppose it means you can't be hit. So you have to go through the entire thing without being hit once. And I've never beaten the game with him because it's fucking impossible to not get hit once. And I've been playing that for like challenge again. So I should probably stop playing this game because I have other things to play. Like, here's Call of Juarez, Dear Esther, Get in the Car Loser, Kentucky Route Zero, Stasis.
Yeah, I've been playing Mountain Blade, Bannerlord 2. Great game.
Fucking nerd.
Oh, dude, I love this game. I was scared of playing. I first got into Mountain Blade in Warlord, and I was scared of playing because I'm like, yo, I might actually like this and lose lots of hours playing it, which I did. I used to stay up until like 2:00 in the morning playing Warlord until the point I eventually just owned the entire map. Yeah, I put a lot, and I thought to myself, whoa, this is addictive. And then Bannerlord 2 came out, but then like I heard like it was still kind of shaky and it was a rough launch. And then I got interested, to add it to my wishlist, and eventually last month I bought it. And since last month until last night, I've been grinding, and I can finally say I have become a king of my own kingdom. Tristania. That's my kingdom. I did it. I'm hated by everybody, but I'm a king. I did it.
So long as you're enjoying it,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. Between that and WoW, I don't have much time. I've been some of our, we could say, mutual friends are playing CS:GO, so I'm playing that now and again, and Paladins. Also, I only played once, like one session or one sitting of it, but it's fun. I'm just not so big on the hero shooter because, if somebody else takes your hero, you can't select that hero. That pisses me off, and I guess it adds variation and stuff. But that's that MOBA shit that's now bleeding over into games. Like, I want to be like, I understand that they can't have everybody taking the base hero, but at the same time, it's just annoying that I would work hard on one character and then I can't use them because someone else picked them before me. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like such a fun game. I don't think this is my jam.
No, it's the gameplay is fun. The gameplay loop is there's a reason why it's popular. The gameplay loop is addictive. It's just annoying when you're selecting.
Well, I suppose that's sort of me with BPM. It has a very addictive gameplay loop.
Yeah. I also played some Project Zomboid. Even tried to host my own dedicated server. But every single time I tried, there was something that went wrong with the server. Whether it was people couldn't connect, or the server would crash, or the laptop I'm running the server off just couldn't handle it. There was always something wrong with the server. I will try again after I move when I have better router control for port forwarding and such, but that server did, like, what pisses me off is that this game is old, right? And if you download the dedicated server through Steam and you run it through Steam, it breaks the fucking dedicated server. You have to download the dedicated server, go into the files, and run it from a bat file in order to make the server work. That to me is fundamentally stupid. Like, how have you not fixed this problem? I know this voice won't go very much. I know Vampocalypto, you're probably gonna agree with this, and you're probably one of our very few listeners. I know Cyborg Bat doesn't listen anymore. Yeah.
What a bitch.
Or maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe if you insult him, he will respond.
Yeah, little prick.
Oh shit, even me. But yes, that's basically been my gaming exploits. Um, Last week I went to Africa Games Week. For those who don't know, it's a conference where basically Africa has developers in Africa, not just South Africa, have the ability to show off what they've been working on. Um, Very disappointing. Um, I would say very disappointing in what the top, what what is considered the top companies in Africa had to offer. However, there were some indie developers there actually putting in effort. There was I gotta do a shout out to Game Tester. They're a company that offers a service in testing your games, and not just testing your games, but also helping you from concept all the way to post launch on getting analytics on your games and helping you develop a game to better fit your target audience, as well as make a better experience for both the client and the customer. But yeah, shout out to them. Just because I can, they does not sponsor anything. I just thought they were really cool and they were nice, so I thought I'd shout them out. Other than that, there were some cool indie devs. There's a lot of crap indie devs there. Like, a lot of people had I want to say it right as it is. They made knockoffs of already popular games, but try to add their own Africanized theme to it, which pissed me off. But there were actually some genuine indie games there that I thought was awesome. There was this, that old retro anime arcade style look of game. There was a game there that tried to emulate that look of that old school anime style. I loved that. Props to those guys. Yeah, it mainly went there for talks, for people to tell you about how they do stuff and how to do stuff. It was really funny. There was this person there that was talking to a room of game developers about what you need for game development, and it was kind of obvious, and I could see that on everybody else's face. Really funny stuff. Yeah, so overall there wasn't like much great news. Like, Microsoft or Xbox in particular has these game camps where they get young people to come to this 2 week or 2 month session where they make a game and then they show the game off. It actually has been successful to the point it's not a recruiting thing. It's basically just exposing young people and giving them the opportunity to get into game development before they have to go through all the expense of going to college or university and learning how to be a game developer, wasting all the money just to realize it's not what they thought it was. So they kind of give that experience. What's nice about what happened there was, like I said, it's not Xbox doesn't do it to recruit, but there were two studios that would just happen to be so good that they became studios under Xbox. So they don't recruit, but there is an opportunity for young people to get involved, which I thought was awesome. They announced that because they had the Game Camp, Xbox Game Camp, New Orleans, which was one of theirs, which was the first one because the guy that runs it is from New Orleans, and he has this whole talk about how his family influenced his life, and how he really just had a passion for games. But what's interesting is they announced Xbox Game Camp for Africa, and I laughed because I was like, oh, do they consider South Africa just Africa? Because they're announcing it to South Africa. But it's not. Cape Town is one of those that are planned to happen, but they are working on doing other game camps within Africa. So it's not just South Africa that's getting it. It's going to go all over the continent. But for now, it starts in South Africa. And it's really cool to see that kind of involvement, because if I had that, I would have been like, hell yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to get into. And I wouldn't have wasted all my time doing physics and electrical technology.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do electrical technology, but I did.
We did physics. Yeah. But that's mostly what was interesting. there still should be some content posted about Africa Games Week. A lot of the recorded videos and stuff for people that bought tickets, so it's all unlisted videos. So unfortunately, I can't help you anybody with that who wants to see. But I would say the stands were better than the talks, and you only need to go there one day to actually see what the stands had to offer. So yeah, it was awesome. Either way, I can say it was awesome. Africa Games Week. The big companies, so the ones that consider themselves big companies in Africa, need to really look at their definition of being a big company in the games industry in Africa, because there are smaller game studios. I hate to mention it, but like Free Lives, I may have my own issues with Free Lives, but they are still a better game company than what the big ones are. So yeah, they actually are better game developers. Indie games, yes, but they're just better. Just leave it at that. I don't want to shit on the South Africa or the African game development initiative.
Scene.
Yeah, scene. Sorry, they call themselves the Pan-African Gaming Group. I don't want to shit on them, but they can do better. They can do a lot better for calling themselves the top game companies in Africa, and they can do they can do a lot better with the content they publish. So yeah, that's just my look at it. But overall, it was good, was an experience, was awesome. And if I go to any other events this year, I will let you guys know. And if they're actually all good, and I can get One Cent Justin off his ass, maybe we can even cover it together. Maybe even have some live footage for you guys.
Well, there's one thing I might. This is still like fucking ages off. But apparently, now that I'm up this side of the world, Comic-Con is in Joburg in September, so I might go to that.
That's kind of cool.
Which could be cool.
I won't go to Joburg. I refuse to go to the City of Bones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm already here. Basically,
there was also Rage that ditched Cape Town.
Yeah, but I think they might not be this year though.
What about GDC? Is that still happening this year?
I don't know actually.
Because that was a big one. Like, I went there the last time it happened before COVID and everything, and it was great. I'd love to go there. You and me, we go there and we cover GDC. Although I think I'll be there for work as well, because I think I might just be a representative. So we'll see. Maybe what I'll do is I will go there for work, and then when we record any of our stuff, I'll just swap my t-shirt out, so as not to get things confused. Yeah. But yeah, I hope cool. GDC is still going. We'll see.
All right. I believe that is everything now. Then.
Yeah.
All right. Should we say ta-ta to the peoples of the world?
Yes, we should. Take care, fair members of society.
Yeah. Disgusting. So, do you have anything to plug, good Tristanimus, sir?
Nope. As always, I am devoid of plugs.
Yeah. Disgusting.
I know you've got lots of plugs.
Yeah. Yes. Well, at the moment, I'm releasing like a series, which is not actually about games at all. It's about literature, because I'm sad. It is actually intended to help a university with a specific university curriculum. But if you're interested in learning what literary theory is, it's a 5-part series. 3 parts are out so far. The other 2 parts are coming out in March.
From my
it's gonna.
Yeah, for my troglodyte of a brain, I can also definitely endorse it. I would say, go check it out. You might learn something, and it's just interesting. Like you might even be able to hold up a conversation with somebody that's interested in literature and not seem like a complete troglodyte.
No, I hope I make it easily understandable. I mean, I've been told that it's quite easy to understand, so that's good. But yeah, so far it's Romanticism, Russian Formalism, and New Criticism, and then there's still going to be Mukarovsky's theory, and then there's also going to be a context-centered theory approach discussion. So yeah, there'll be 5 overall, and then after that, there's going to be like another big. That's in April though, so We will wait for that. But that is what is coming out. If you want to learn things. Like a sad person.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
check him out. That's LC Lupus on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, LC_Lupus on Twitter, where you'll hear me talking shit about existence. But, you know, in a good way. In a fun way. Also, actually, maybe beginning of next month, I don't know yet, but a piece of fiction of mine might be published in the beginning of April, but I will see closer to the time.
Oh, definitely.
We will see. Okay, so that is everything, I believe. So, I think we can say ta-ta to the peoples of the world, if you agree, good sir.
Indeed. Goodbye, farewell. Stay safe in these trying times.
And try not to die.
Or end up in desert biomes.
That Goodbye, everybody. And as per usual, I love you.